welcome to our channel. We are here at Buffalo Trace Distillery outside Frankfort, Kentucky, just right a week before Christmas. So they have all of these lights up and everything. They turn on the lights at 5:30 and you can just drive through. So we do have a tour booked in about 5 minutes. We're excited to check it out. Jordan's heard a lot about this place, so we're thankful and happy to finally be able to book a tour, and we'll see what's happening here. Oh, that's all they have, and it's subject to availability. Maybe I'll try their vodka, I don't know.
Yeah.
Roll your barrels down to get packaged, ready to go. Take a tour with us to the first modern distillery in the United States since 1873. That's right, it's Buffalo Trace Distillery. If you're familiar with Buffalo Trace, you'll recognize the names of the many men who once helmed Buffalo Trace. Many of the bourbons are named after them. E.H. Taylor, George T. Stagg, William LaRue Weller, Julian P. Pappy Van Winkle, Albert B. Blanton, and the latest, Elmer T. Lee. These men are Buffalo Trace's bourbon giants. It is through their influence that you can see the impact that they've made from their distillery to their bourbon. I love this list of the history of Kentucky distillers dating back to the 1800s. As you can see, quite a few closed down, were lost to prohibition, or destroyed by fire. But a lot of the ones that still are existing today is a lot of the ones that we know already. Willet, Heaven Hill, Jim Beam, Wild Turkey, that are still existing and you can visit today. Colonel E.H. Taylor, nephew to the past U.S. President Zachary Taylor, was the first to introduce modern technology to the distillery. He scouted out land in Frankfort, Kentucky, tore the previous building down, and built his own. He called it OFC, Old Fire Copper Distillery. It was then that he partnered with George T. Stagg. Taylor was indebted to him, and then their partnership broke apart. If you want to learn more about E.H. Taylor, watch our Buffalo Trace Taylor tour. The first distillation was in 1786. They continued selling through Prohibition through a medicinal license and started their first bottled and bond whiskey. They wrote over 6.5 million prescriptions. One thing holding Buffalo Trace back is the consumer demand. They're just that good and equally hard to find. Due to this, Buffalo Trace is undergoing a $1.2 billion expansion, doubling their capacity. They were bought by Sazerac in 1992, who were placed out of New Orleans and renamed as Buffalo Trace for the trails at the distillery created by paths, where buffaloes once ran, cutting paths in the wilderness known as traces. Buffalo Trace has 17 warehouses. Each is the footprint of a football field. Each warehouse holds 39,000 barrels, but Buffalo Trace is building 25 more warehouses, potentially storing up to 975,000 more barrels. Buffalo Trace has a collection of 18 bourbons, providing 40 distinctive flavor profiles. 2006, a tornado blew through the distillery. Barrels were exposed, producing fluctuating weather in the spring, and newer brick has now been put on top. But back then, the master distiller tried the samples, and he liked it. He sold it as tornado surviving bourbon. It's like real estate. It's all about location and atmosphere. What are the size of the windows? Where are they at and configured? Says Mark, our tour guide. In summer, the windows are open. In winter, they use steam. Colonel Taylor created the first climate-controlled warehouse. Buffalo Trace ages bourbon year-round. Did you know that when you store bourbon in your warehouse, you pay taxes on them? The longer a barrel is aged, the more expensive it is for the distillery to make. Barrels from Buffalo Trace bourbon are aged 6 to 8 years in the middle shelves of the warehouse. At the bottom of the warehouse, barrels are aged from 10 to 25 years, 3 gallons left when they open it up. Everything on the bottom of the warehouse is top shelf bourbon. Warehouse aged once helped Buffalo Trace out of bankruptcy. Made from metal, it houses the world's first commercially marketed single-barrel bourbon, Blanton's. The Japanese love it, millennials love it. It's the most in-demand type of bourbon in the world, said Mark. Warehouse H holds 18,000 barrels. Buffalo Trace's small batch bourbon, like E.H. Taylor, is 40 to 80 barrels combined together for a single profile.
Charge as being a loyal Blanton fanatic, right? You got to have two ends in Blanton. You got to have both of them. With that said, one is no one topper is harder to get than the other. The other end has a little colon next to it. Okay, they are made in the same amount of those boxes back there. Our people are just grabbing, putting them on there, and getting out as many as they can each day.
Buffalo Trace has two main mash bills. Mash Bill 1 is a sweeter, high corn recipe, which is made into the namesake bourbon Buffalo Trace and the Eagle Rare. Mash Bill 2, a higher rye recipe, creates their Blantons and Elmer T. Lee. Buffalo Trace also has a wheated bourbon with their Weller line and a rye line with their Sazerac rye. They fill 250 barrels an hour. Barrels can be reused for tobacco, coffee, or maple syrup. Now, Buffalo Trace uses white oak barrels containing hundreds of sugars. They char the barrels to caramelize the flavor, introduce color, flavor, and smell. Buffalo Trace does a 65-second level 4 char known as an alligator char.
Millennials come along, we hit 7 in 10 years.
Overall, we don't think we'll ever learn the full history of Buffalo Trace, but it's evident how their bourbons have withheld the test of time, tornadoes, fires, multiple owners, and have grown stronger because of it. They are an example of taking adversity and using it as an opportunity to create more products that they wouldn't have done otherwise. This Trace tour was just one of the complimentary tours that Buffalo Trace offers, so go book one for yourself. With that, I'm Camille Starnes, and this is Travel with Starnes. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Leave a message in the comments of where you think we should go next. Bye!